back to the summer, just tell us or pull the curtain back a little bit of how you guys' entire process works from start to finish.
So the biggest thing is the grading process and all the data we collect behind the scenes really impacts, our final evaluations. If a guy, an interior offensive lineman, so last year, a guy like Lloyd Cushenberry from LSU, if he doesn't have a good grade, and he just didn't have a good grade, he had allowed a ton of pressures. If that's what you put on tape, a lot of the times we're just not going to be high on you. You have to, we believe in performance being predictive of future performance or being one of the better indicators. Now, it's not the end all be all, but outliers on either end of the spectrum in terms of either being very, very bad or very, very good. Sometimes we're going to take those into account. So on-field performance, we value a ton in the scouting process in terms of projecting from college to the NFL. There are certain positions we'll trust that more. I think the line of scrimmage is one, just because there's so many interactions that we grade in our grading process. Of you get a lot of one-on-ones. It's not a lot of cornerback. One, you're only getting pass plays. Two, you're only getting times when they're engaged in a pass play. Say you're bailing out into cover 3 and the route doesn't come into your zone. You're not, can't really be evaluated on that play. So you just get a lot more interactions at O-line, D-line, bigger sample size. The grade's going to be more indicative. So there's areas we feel better about that. And I think it's kind of evolved over the years from really leaning on that and really using those grades to then knowing where the grades matter, where the grades have translated better, and also kind of pairing that with, your traditional scouting methods of athleticism, the tools that a lot of people in the sort of NFL world will use to project purely from college to pro.
And that's really interesting. And I'm going to use a player as an example just because I've done tape study on him and you guys are really high on him as well. So I want to take Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle from Alabama, as an example. So I believe you guys had him down for, I think it was like 350 snaps or something like that this past season. So with him being so inexperienced, what makes you guys so high on him going to next season, knowing that he's going to be a starter?
I think it's the fact that you can't really fake an elite grade like he had last year at Alabama. You don't just flukishly kick, offensive linemen's butts in the SEC week in and week out, even if it's only on 15 snaps. You can't really, and that's one thing I was gonna sort of touch on later. And like one of our scouting methods is you just got to see a guy have that dominant performance. You got to see it from a guy. If you've never seen someone like a Rashawn Gary out of Michigan, even if he has all these physical tools in the world, if you never see it for a single game, him take over, we're not going to get on board with that projecting well to the NFL. So Barmore, I mean, we've already seen it. It's been a small sample size, like I said, 300 or so snaps this past season, only started a handful of games towards the end of the year for Alabama, but you can't fake dominance at that level. So that's why we're still super high on him. And he also has, those physical tools.